I wrote a little song to remind you, Choice Hotels get you more of the experiences you value. The Cambria Hotel's got it all. A rooftop bar, have a ball. Bring a date, your squad, or even your mom. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Looking back at 1993, it was an interesting time in the world of pop culture. Dinosaurs roamed the movie theaters, Doom was unleashed upon PCs everywhere, and Charlie Sheen was actually winning. Can he put a topper on this franchise? Find out as we look to see if Hot Shots Part Deux is not that bad. Welcome, one and all to It's Not That Bad, the podcast that looks for A grades in B movies. Hello to all of our listeners in Oxford, England, and around the world. How the heck are you guys doing? All right, so last week when we talked about The Intern, we played on easy mode. Well, we're going to continue that trend because we're talking about a film that is the by slimmest of margins qualifying for this podcast, and rightfully so, maybe, remains to be seen. We're talking about Hot Shots Part Deux, and here to join me, someone who is not my lovely wife, Carrie. Carrie, how are you doing?
Oh my God, really nicely done.
I thought so.
Nicely played.
I mean, I could have said that, she's hot, take a shot, but no.
But you didn't.
But I didn't.
You went with the duh angle.
I said you weren't, so it's
okay.
kind of a compliment.
Yeah, okay.
We're going to go with it.
Cool.
So, not that long ago, just a couple days ago, we were talking about movies starring a Sheen. And here we are talking about a film starring Charlie Sheen. And I know this was actually, as I recall, I think this was actually my watch pick. Carrie, had you seen this movie before we actually watched it for the show?
If I did, it was like when it first came out. And honestly, I remember nothing. And even though I saw it, I still remember nothing. I'm kidding.
Oh, man. It's that bad, huh?
I've blocked it from the last 24 hours of my memory bank.
Wow.
Deleted.
No. Apparently, we're going to have some words on this one because I will put this right now out on Front Street. I like this one better than the original.
Okay, I have nothing to compare it to, but you liked this movie, huh?
Oh, this is going to be one of those episodes here.
What did I miss?
Okay. So let's get into this film here. But before we tackle the sequel of the Hot Shots franchise, it's time to take it and trailerize it.
When American soldiers are trapped behind enemy lines, there's only one man who can sneak in and save the day. And wait. John Rambo isn't available? What about James Braddock? No, Tug Speedman? Man, we are really scraping the bottom of the barrel. Fine. We'll go with Topper Harley. But we're not going to like it. Where were we? Oh, yeah. Only Topper Harley can save the day. Will he rescue the soldiers? Can he free the husband of the love of his life? Strap in, down some tiger blood, and hide your chickens. Charlie Sheen stars in Hot Shots Part Deux. Rated PG-13 for poultry grabber.
I mean, anyone who's seen the poster for Hot Shots Part Deux, they know about the chicken arrow. It's one of those things where it's just one of the more iconic parts of this parody. But let's get into who's in the movie. The movie stars Charlie Sheen, Lloyd Bridges, Valeria Golino, Brenda Bach, Richard Crenna, Miguel Ferrer, Ryan Stiles, Jerry Haleva, Rowan Atkinson. Yeah, Rowan freaking Atkinson and Michael Collier. However, there's an almost starring in this. Jim Abrahams, the writer and director of this film, originally wanted Marlon Brando to play the president, and I don't know how that would actually work.
Ooh, I don't know, but you know who I could have pictured, or actually who I pictured playing that role? remember from Police Academy.
Literally, when we actually get to talk about this role, I have George Gaines written down in my, I would have loved to have seen him in this role.
Okay, so it wasn't just me.
No, it's not just you. George Gaines would have slayed in this role.
Yeah.
The film had a budget of $25 million, domestically made $38.9 million, worldwide $133 million. But when it debuted on the May 21st, 1993 weekend, making this film a whopping 23 years old this year, it only debuted at number 2 with $10.25 million. The top grossing debut at number 1 was Sliver, starring Sharon Stone. We're going to put a pin in that one. We're going to come back to that one. Rounding at the top 5 were Dave at number 3, Dragon, the Bruce Lee Story at number 4, and Posse at number 5. But the reason why we are here and playing on easy mode today are the critics. Over at Rotten Tomatoes, this film has a tomatometer of 59%. So literally just that hint of green on the tomato. The popcorn meter actually sits at 63%, but you want to talk about everyone kind of shooting at the same target. At IMDb, 6.6 stars out of 10 for a 66% score. Metacritic, a Metascore of 64. The Movie Database, 65%, and at Letterboxd, 3.2 stars out of 5 for a 64% score, giving this film the aggregate of 63.5%. So a college pass, but everything is pretty much grouped in the same 6%, 7% range. So I'm going to ask you, Carrie, between 59% and 66% at IMDb, is this film properly critiqued?
I think so. I mean, yeah, like I would put it right down the middle, and that's why we're here talking about it. I personally think 59% even might be a bit generous, but
wow.
Yeah, I think I would have it more at about 49%, just
Yeesh.
shy of a half. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait. Back the truck up here. You're telling me, I'm going to get this out right now.
Oh, no.
Because when we talked about the Starving Games, you
Yes.
actually liked that one.
I did very much.
So let me put this out there, because we've covered a few movies on here, if you will. And I would put Hot Shots Part Deux into that movie kind of vibe, right? It's just very much a parody of other films, right? We've talked about superhero movie. We've talked about the Starving Games. We've talked about date movies. So I'm going to ask you, Carrie, of the parody movies that we have covered so far, where does this rank?
So here's my issue as I see it. Okay. I think there's two sides to this. There's the parody movie with the low budget, and they do what they can with what they have to work with. And you go into it kind of with that level of expectation.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, however, obviously having a higher budget,
Of only $25 million.
Okay, but I align this more with like the Naked Gun movies. Greater star power, higher budget. You kind of have that weight of expectation of a little bit more. And the gags were funny. Okay, so some of them were great. I found some of them just kind of went on a little, they overstayed their welcome a little bit too much. The sword fighting down the stairs, and then they stop for a sip of tea or wine or whatever. And it just keeps going and going. And then they pull out the lightsabers. The gags were overdone, I think. There was a bit too much going on. Too much to take in.
Interesting. Okay, so we have apparently a lot to talk about this week. Let's get to the breakdown. We're going to start, of course, with Charlie Sheen as Topper Harley. Your thoughts?
I thought he was great. I really did. Don't get me wrong. I liked him in this role. I thought he was funny. I thought the fact that he wasn't overly funny, he played more serious, like in the role. He wasn't really there for the gags. The gags were happening around him.
but that's kind of what makes it work. I mean, take a look at Naked Gun, okay? And, yes, we're talking about Leslie Nielsen, like a comedic genius kind of thing. But, it's not like he was going full slapstick. Or an even better example would probably be go all the way back to Airplane. Like William Stryker wasn't playing it, like goofy. He played it straight while everything kind of happened around him. That's kind of what makes the parody film. Now, admittedly, they took a chance in, personally, I think they took a chance in, parodying the Rambo films, mainly because, Weird Al Yankovic already kind of parodied First Blood Part 2 in UHF. I'm glad they didn't go down that road. They kind of parodied more Rambo 3, which, let's be honest, Rambo 3, there was a lot to make fun of with Rambo 3, although it does have one of my favorite Stallone lines from any film. What's this? It's a blue light. What's it do? It turns blue. This is the peak of Rambo 3 dialogue. But I mean, Charlie Sheen is good in this, I think. Like, he definitely prepped for the role. He worked out a ton for the role to actually look like someone who could actually, take on a Stallone parody kind of role. But the goal is to play it straight. The goal is to let the sight gags and the dialogue, kind of take the lead on this. It's a written comedy, not a slapstick comedy. And I think that works in Charlie Sheen's favor in this. But I mean, I do appreciate, and maybe it's because I watched the Rambo films and those kind of movies that I kind of had a more of an appreciation. Like, did you ever sit down and watch? I mean, take First Blood out of the equation, because First Blood is a very different movie from the other Rambo films. It's actually based on the book and is a very good movie. The rest of the Rambo films are your typical 80s action, army, strong guy, big gun kind of films. Did you watch the Rambo movies back in the day?
No. And I think that might be part of it. Is maybe I was missing the source material behind the jokes.
And yet, interestingly, and you did mention the weight of expectation, but when we talked about the Starving Games, you have zero frame of reference, as do I, with the Hunger Games franchise. Now, yes, there are other gags in there. They made fun of the Avengers. They made fun of Harry Potter and all that. But I mean, I found some of the jokes kind of probably went over my head a little bit with the Starving Games. Here, I watched the Rambo movies, right? The 80s were it, right? Movies like those and missing in action movies and the Commando and stuff like that. Like typical 80s. Basically, anyone who started a movie in the 80s and ended up in the Expendables series afterwards. So I'd be curious if you like the first movie more, because I know you probably watched Top Gun back in the day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not saying it was awful. I'm just saying that there was a lot going on. I don't know if it was like maybe I was missing something, but there were 2 times where I'm like, well, who's this guy? Why is he, kind of having this existential crisis? That one, the line was quite funny where he's like, okay, what's the matter, G.I. Joe? And then he gives him the handkerchief and, like that. Okay, it was funny, but I'm like, wait a minute, who is this guy? Where'd he come from? What's his story? What's going on? Did I miss something along the way? He just kind of appeared and he's having this horrible existential crisis. And then when they finally get to Rowan Atkinson at the end, I'm like, oh, okay. So the whole goal was to like save him and his shoelaces are tied. Well, yeah. Okay. We're talking about grown ass men here. He could have just taken his shoes off. I don't know, but did they really want to play him as such an idiot? Like I just couldn't subscribe to that. I'm like, I get that it was supposed to be funny and he's supposed to like be the hero and carry him out of the jail. And I don't know. I think, again, maybe, I don't know, I wanted more or less or something different. I found, okay, that's funny. But, But like, was it necessary? Like,
I mean, there are some gags in this where I feel it's like one of those like you had to be there kind of things. Like
Maybe.
you mentioned Miguel Ferrer, who played Commander Harbinger, and then there's one scene where he tips the little mini rocket launcher, grenade launcher kind of thing upward so that it lands in the same foxhole and all that. And then he stands up and goes, "War, it's fantastic." And I'm like, I don't get this gag. I had to look it up. It was actually a spoof of an NBA marketing campaign at the time where you just had people going, "The NBA, it's fantastic." Okay, cool. That's fine and funny in 1993. This is where I find parody movies can kind of paint themselves in a quarter a little bit, in that, yes, most parody movies, while they are parodying, different movies, different genres, that kind of stuff, but they paint themselves in a corner with some of the references. And if you weren't there at the time, when you go back and you watch it 23 years later, a lot of these movies, at least the gags in them, don't necessarily hold up. So I'm going to ask you, before we get to the rest of the people in this film, the gags in this, like, which ones kind of went over your head?
I can't say that anything really went over my head. I mean, I certainly thought a lot of it was funny.
But yeah, when
But
people get hit in the balls, you laugh.
Yeah. Maybe they were relying a bit too much on the gags. I don't know. Like, I really don't know how to answer that. Like, they were fine enough. But I think when they were, like, during the fight scenes, I just felt like it was too long. Like, maybe if it was spread out a bit more with a bit more, I don't know, tying together with, like, dialogue, maybe. There wasn't a lot of dialogue that carried the fight scenes.
I mean, I do kind of get that aspect of it, but I mean, that's kind of also the signature of a lot of these parody films, where it's like they don't sit on a gag too long. It's like, all right, make the joke and go kind of thing. Yeah, some of the quote unquote combat scenes did go a little too far and a little sight gaggy or lean too much into it. I do appreciate that. I still think this film shouldn't qualify. I don't think it's much higher than 60%. I'll give you that. But I don't think we should be actually talking about this film, because I do still think it's funny. But I understand if it's not your genre of film, then you're probably not going to want to be into it. I get that. Valeria Golino as Ramada. Your thoughts on her?
I absolutely thought she was lovely. And I cannot for the life of me figure out how in her life she hooked up with Rowan Atkinson's character that they literally just made look like a complete idiot. Like, the fact that he backed himself off of a cliff, that was kind of absolutely perfect as an end for him, because it was just like, how could one person be so daft? But I don't know, she kind of seemed like such a cold or very unapproachable kind of like woman. It's almost like Charlie Sheen's character had to like really try to woo her, and she was very standoffish. How on earth and in what twisted universe did she hook up with Rowan Atkinson, yet still maintain to carry the flame and have the locket close to her heart? Like, the locket, of course, that Charlie Sheen's character had given her. So, I mean, I don't know, like, maybe if she hadn't have played so cold to begin with.
I don't think she played it cold, though. I mean, it's one of those things where she's playing it straight. She's, undercover. She's the mission. She's the contact, right? Obviously she kind of left Topper stranded at the train station with the greatest so sorry you thought I was coming with you card, which was kind of funny. But I mean, Valeria Golino, and this is the second time we've had to talk about her because of course she was also in Four Rooms. I found that she's really good in this because she, like Charlie Sheen, is playing it straight. Even the times when she's doing that gag of, if I was joking, I would say a rabbi, a priest, and whatever walk into a bar. I like that gag, and the fact that she doesn't overplay her gags and whatnot. Like, again, the ones who play it straight really do sell the comedy, I think, very well.
Oh yeah, and I love that she was so kick ass.
Mhm.
Like she was so great. You know, and it was funny too. Like she's like ripping parts of her shirt to take care of all the characters, and they're like, "Ooh, I have a paper cut, and it really hurts."
Right.
She like rips off her arm of her shirt. Like, really?
But again, a funny
funny.
gag right there.
But it was again one of those things that it's like, okay, we get it, a bit much, move on.
Barbara Bach, who played Michelle Huddleston. So this character is very much a kind of parodying like the Sharon Stone kind of roles that were in around this time, which is kind of funny that it was a Sharon Stone film, Sliver, that actually beat this at the box office in both their debut weekends. Your thoughts on Barbara Bach?
It was so funny when the monks were trying to impress her. Like,
that's one thing that Jim Abrahams actually does write very well. It's like these very serious scenes, right? You know, someone is delivering very serious information in the foreground, and in the background, just the everything is freaking happening. I don't know if you could have gotten someone to pull off a Sharon Stone parody as well as Barbara Bach did in this. Obviously the Basic Instinct vibes from the bedroom scene were hilarious. That's kind of what you want, though. Someone who clearly plays a role that is played by somebody else in another film that you're already parodying and comes in with a very straight-faced, very serious take on it. The idea of the detachable beauty mark for Topper to carry around with him and wear on his face, funny-ish.
I would let you wear my mole.
That is not doctor recommended, I don't think. Miguel Ferrer as Commander Harbinger. So this is the guy who had to blow all the snot out of his nose, and you know, big bad G.I. Joe is scared of combat. Your thoughts on him?
You know what? He was actually quite funny. Yeah. One of the more enjoyable characters because they didn't oversell him. Like he was in small bits and the bits that he was in, I thought were quite funny. Obviously the consoling scene, and I mean, just again, he was just kind of like bumbling through it, you know?
I mean, Miguel Ferrer comes across with that gritty voice. It makes it sound like he's actually, you know, a hardened, you know, war. You know, he's seen some things in combat, that kind of voice, right? And the fact that he's in movies like RoboCop as well, it's like, okay, so he's got the pedigree in order to be able to come in and play a soldier. I also like the fact that he's kind of a red herring in this because, again, this is where the spoilers start, ladies and gentlemen. There's a mole that is kind of sabotaging the missions that these soldiers are going in and trying to rescue POWs in Iraq, which I didn't realize there were that many trees and forests in Iraq, but I digress. It's one of those things where he's so sketch initially early on that you're like, oh, he's got to be the mole. Even though it's the girl with the detachable mole who's the mole. But I like the fact that they actually thought of putting a red herring character into this. And then when you discover it's not him, he's just, you know, afraid of combat, that gag becomes even funnier, and it kind of ties the loophole around as to who at least or who is not the mole in this. Going to put these two together because they're kind of equal in billing at the time and equal in performance. Ryan Stiles and Michael Collier as Rabinowitz and Williams. These are the other two guys that are on Topper Harley's team going into Iraq. Your thoughts on them?
But one was so much funnier than the other. Like like the lead of the
Ryan
two
Stiles,
of them.
yeah.
He was so funny. Like I really enjoyed his performance. It seemed every gag that he was involved in was just really funny, really well done.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he seemed like a really great actor. He seemed, you know, very capable of carrying the scene.
But I mean, that's Ryan Stiles. I mean, we're talking someone who really cut his teeth on Whose Line Is It Anyway, doing improv, and it was brilliant.
Oh my God, it was him.
It was.
It's so funny because I'm like, oh yeah, he totally reminds me of that guy.
He is that guy.
Oh my God. Okay, so there it is. I mean, oh, that's funny.
Yeah, just you wait till you realize that in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, the voice of the pod racer announcer is Greg Proops, also from Whose Line Is It Anyway, the guy with the glasses. But yeah, no, I Ryan Stiles really did shine. Michael Collier was okay. They just didn't give him much to do. Like, yes, he was in the whole, I got a cut too on my finger. It's a bleeder. While Larry Galino is, tearing strips off of her shirt. But yeah, Ryan Stiles really did shine in this, even though he's a little on the goofy side, but it kind of works.
But I think that's the thing. He completely stole the show, and it was almost a disservice to the other fellow who just didn't like.
He didn't get the spots. Yeah,
exactly. It's nothing that he did wrong. He was just completely, beat before he even tried. Right? Like there was nothing he could have done because the caliber of talent in the scene. I'm today years old figuring that out. And he's a really funny guy.
Oh, he is. He absolutely is.
Obviously, yeah.
Richard Crenna as Colonel Denton Walters. So this is the guy who went to go recruit Topper Harley to do the mission. And then when Topper turned him down, he went and did the mission himself and was being held in Iraq. And the fact that it is actually Richard Crenna is so huge because he's parodying the role that he himself played in the Rambo films. Your thoughts on him?
Okay, well, that in itself makes it funnier. Like, I didn't know the history, because obviously didn't really watch Rambo, but that kind of makes it funny. It gives it a bit more weight.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that, normally when you have these films, right, you have someone come in and they're there to literally just parody a person, a character or whatever, much like Barbara Bach did in parodying all those Sharon Stone type roles, the femme fatale with the husky voice and the long legs, and like that is very much exactly what her job was there to do, but the fact that Richard Crenna, first of all, apparently when he was offered the role to do this, he actually called up Stallone and said, hey, they want me to do this. It's kind of, spoofing on, what we've already done. Are you cool with this? And Stallone was like, yeah, do it. Because Stallone comes across as someone who understands a good joke when he hears one. But the fact that it is Richard Crenna himself, just, it made it that much funnier because he does play it so straight and so serious, and the fact that all the crazy happens around him, that he was the guy who was delivering all the information to Topper while all the monks were trying to show off for Michelle Huddleston. Richard Crenna was such a steal of a casting call for this, and it's brilliant that it is him. It just makes it. You put anyone else in. You could put Tommy Lee Jones in that role, and it still wouldn't have been anywhere near as good as Richard Crenna parodying himself. All right, let's go to the top of the military structure. The President of the United States of America, President Tug Benson, is played by Lloyd Bridges. And yeah, we've already kind of mentioned that George Gaines would have been perfect for this. Your thoughts on Lloyd Bridges?
I thought he was so funny. Like, again, very heavy on the gags, but the fact that he was like, I don't know, some kind of Iron Man with every body part replaced. He was able to walk into the fire and out in one piece.
Yeah, but this is a carryover gag from the first film. So the fact that you haven't watched the first film kind of makes this a new gag for you. This is the one character I find, one of two characters where there is zero subtlety whatsoever. This is a goofball character. Thank freaking God it was not Marlon Brando, because it would not. This movie would. I hate to disparage here. This movie would suck if Marlon Brando played the president. I just could not see it. Maybe you put Jack Nicholson in that role. I could see that.
I was literally just thinking of Jack.
Right?
Yeah.
But I mean, this feels like, and of course we go back to, obviously, the work on airplanes, stuff like that. This is the kind of role that Leslie Nielsen probably would have been handed, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't Leslie Nielsen. It was Lloyd Bridges. And again, a little goofy, a little fun. I didn't mind him in this, but he is subtle like a sledgehammer in this.
It was so funny, the scene with his wife, and he's like, find out what she knows.
There's some good moments for him in there. Not going to lie, I like the fart bubble that killed all the people in the boat above them, but
yeah.
I think farts are funny. This is the level of comedy you get on this show. She finds it funny when someone gets hit in the nuts. I find farts funny. We never matured.
Okay, but can we give props to the walnut gag? Because that was really funny. Someone takes a nut shot and
the nuts come out of the mouth.
Yeah. Tell me though, you had mentioned the fart bubble that knocked out all the
people on the boat
baddies
above,
on the boat. Was that not Martin Sheen on the boat? Okay,
so there is this scene where they're sitting on the boat. Not that scene in particular, but there's this one scene where they're sitting on this small boat, and Topper Harley is writing into his diary, and the speech he's actually giving is basically the same speech that he did from the movie that Charlie Sheen was in earlier, Platoon. Now, on another boat coming the other way is his father, Martin Sheen, doing the same monologue that he did when he was in Apocalypse Now. So the fact that these two cross over, they stand up, they look at each other and go, I loved you in Wall Street, which they were both in. Such a wonderful, fun meta moment for that one.
Okay, yeah, because I'm like, that seemed so displaced, but it was funny. And I couldn't figure out exactly the why, like what was happening there.
But once you realize that they both played characters in like Vietnam era films, and they both had like, self-diary monologue type moments, that makes it even funnier. The fact that Martin Sheen actually did come in and do that scene is brilliant. But also, Martin Sheen would have been also really good as the president as well.
Oh, he would have.
I know, right? I mean, it's not like he wasn't president in the West Wing, Apparently he can do that kind of thing. We've talked about him probably more so already in this episode than he was actually in the film. Rowan Atkinson as Dexter Heyman. Your thoughts?
Again, I've stated my piece. I waited the whole movie to see Rowan Atkinson because I saw his name in the opening credits and I'm like, oh, Mr. Bean's in this movie. I'm going to love it. And then they introduced him and
then he was gone.
Poor hapless man that couldn't take his
2 minutes of screen time.
Shoes off. If they tied the laces, those horrible people, how could those monsters?
Is it me though?
Why did they make him so ineffectual? I
think for two reasons. From a storyline perspective, you don't want him to be likable because you want Ramada and Topper to get back together. You want them to be, you don't want her to go back to her husband because she's supposed to be with Topper. So you make the husband is completely just that you don't want them to get back together. But then to the same token as well, you don't want to put someone like Rowan Atkinson in there and just have him do like Mr. Bean kind of stuff, right? You put a grumpy person in there to be grumpy, those kind of grumpy lines kind of thing. I think the casting is more for the personality than it is for the actual gags themselves. Like all of a sudden you show up and like, oh, holy crap, Mr. Bean's in this thing. And then Mr. Bean is gone.
See, I'm going to disagree with you respectfully because I feel that they almost gave him more of a Mr. Bean. In fact, the only thing that would have been better is if he actually didn't talk and just kind of communicated in the Mr. Bean grunts or, like noises, right?
But that would have meant that Dexter would have been a happy character, but you want him to be just a kind of a grumpy ass, cares more about his professorial work and all the talk shows he's going to be on than really caring about getting back with Ramada, which means that you want Ramada to go with Topper. It makes sense from that standpoint. You know, the fact that they completely Wile E. Coyoted him out of the film in 2 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, but they did make him seem like a bit of an idiot for a professor, though. Like, I didn't buy that he was supposed to be, shaping young minds and having a brilliant mind of his own. I felt like he was a bit of a bumbling idiot.
Which then makes it even better when he does go over the cliff, because you're like, oh, I'm so happy he's dead.
Yeah.
The character. Character.
No. It definitely made sense that he came to his demise in such a way.
Just
but
yeet him out of there.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel either go complete Mr. Bean or just give him a little bit something. Give him a little bit more respect. Let him be a little bit smarter.
I'm going to argue that one, though. And I think I'm going to argue it from the point of Rowan Atkinson. Because look at when we covered Rat Race, right? Rowan Atkinson was basically a discount Mr. Bean with more lines in that film, right? It kind of happens the same way with Johnny English, right? It's like spy version of Mr. Bean. It's just goofy. Or if you just watch the Bean movie, Rowan Atkinson is more than just the Mr. Bean character. He is a good actor. So you give him a grumpier role. So you give him lines. So maybe it's not what you want out of what's going to call Mr. Bean, out of a Rowan Atkinson role. But I'm sure people who, maybe prefer something like Blackadder might actually appreciate a role like that. It's at least something different.
But why did he have to be grumpy exactly? Because I'm thinking of his man versus, not necessarily man versus bee, but the man versus baby. So the second go with the series, he was so likable.
But that falls into the Mr. Bean type of character.
But with more dialogue, more chances to be liked. And
well, it's not like he's Silent Bob.
Well,
but he can speak. This isn't Teller from Penn and Teller.
I get it, but I just think, I would have liked to have seen more of him. I would have liked to have seen the backstory or how he got in prison. To see him and not just that they're looking for him.
Well, let me ask you this then: at the end of the day, do you want Topper and Ramada to get back together?
Well, I couldn't figure out why she was being so standoffish, why she stood him up at the train, and why she married this guy. Like what she saw.
Ramada has made some choices in her life. I get it,
yeah,
right? But if you want Ramada and Topper to be together, then you can't make Dexter nice.
It was definitely imperative that they did wind up together in the end. I see that. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. One last person to talk about, and I can't believe I have to say this sentence: Jerry Haleva as Saddam Hussein. Your thoughts?
Oh, I thought he was very funny. I almost don't want to even answer this, but presenting Saddam Hussein as a bit of a bumbler,
Yeah.
But it was the scene where he's making the sandwich and just like the everything, and again, these fall under sight gags, but the differently named products that we would recommend.
Saharan wrap,
recognize
yes.
the Hellmann's and
falafel helper. Yeah.
It made it funny. Was it appropriate? Heck no. But you laugh anyway.
But comedies have parodied, horrible people for years and for decades, right? Hell, you go back even to like the golden age of Marvel comics, and you had, comic book characters basically knocking Hitler on his ass. Like that just happens. But I think the thing here is that Jerry Haleva plays Saddam Hussein in a way that is goofy and silly and fun. And for lack of a better term, an actually okay taste. Like, they're not, this isn't Team America World Police, where they're going to go, they're going to see where the line of decency is, and then they're going to pole vault over that one and go like 15 miles down the road past the line of decency. This has always been like the signature of Jim Abrahams, as well as David Zucker, who one of his constant co-writers and co-workers as well, is that the jokes are usually done in good PG-13 kind of taste. And this is a very silly, goofy, for lack of a better term, inoffensive take on a really horrible person. But that's what a parody movie can do. It can take someone who is infamous and just kind of joke the piss out of it.
And that's the thing. I mean, let's be honest, right from the get-go, we were watching this and guffawing.
Yes.
And our oldest son came in the room and was looking at it like, oh, okay, this movie is funny. I'd love to watch it, but I have video games to play. I get it.
Priorities, yeah.
But with that said, it was family friendly. It was something that we could sit down and watch with our kids instead of like having to, kind of shield them from maybe inappropriate humor, maybe something they shouldn't be seeing.
Yeah. But to the same token as well, like our kids would not get probably about 85% of the humor. They'd laugh at the nut shots. They'd laugh at the slapstick humor. And then they sit there and go, is this supposed to be funny? Because again, it's very much like most parody films, one of those you had to be there to get the gag kind of moments.
The lightsaber scene was funny.
Well, again, Star Wars, though. That's the thing. But even that whole, you were talking about the shadows fighting against the wall. I mean, that's going back to like Robin Hood, right? There's a lot of movie history in a lot of these parody films. And there's moments where you sit there and go, oh, that's from that movie, and that's from that movie, and that's from that kind of thing. And I get that. Obviously, here we watch a lot of movies. We've been doing it for 5 years. So I still get a lot of the gags. I think the thing that I liked about this one more than the first one is that, yes, I did watch Top Gun. Yes, I watched the Iron Eagle movie. So I still got all the gags out of the first one. There was just something a little extra goofy in this. And I for some reason, I like this one a lot. I don't think it should qualify. I don't think it's a fantastic movie. I don't think this is like the pinnacle of parody movies. But if you want a good laugh, this film is not bad at all. And I think what this movie actually does do, which the Airplane franchise didn't do, was that this one nailed the sequel. So with Airplane, you had the first one, and it still is to this day brilliant. Even though I never watched like the airport movies that they were parodying at the time, I got the jokes, right? And they were parodying stuff like the Saturday Night Fever and other films of the kind. And it's like, okay, cool. All this is funny as hell, right? The second one, it's basically the same freaking story, but in space. Here, they almost flipped the script and made an entirely different genre of parody films, yet still in that Hot Shots world. And I like that about this. It's not like Scary Movie where every film is like, all right, well, what horror movies are out now? We're just going to parody those and parody those. This felt different than the first film, but yet still felt in the same world. And that's hard to do with a comedy franchise. All right, so MVP time. Carrie, Hot Shots Part Deux, who stands out for you?
How could I not give props to Charlie Sheen? I think he was great. Again, the comedy happening around him and that he played it fairly straight through. Everything that's happening around him, I thought he was funny. He did well enough. Like, he wasn't unlikable. I just felt bad for him. I feel like, maybe he should have just wound up with...
Is this a pity MVP pick?
He should have got the girl right off the bat. She should have went with him.
Okay. But tell me that Lady and the Tramp parody wasn't hilarious.
It was. It was absolutely, and how he got the necklace in the meatball. I don't know. That was a choking hazard. Could you imagine if she had swallowed the necklace? Oh.
Well, maybe that's why she didn't go. He inadvertently imperiled her life by putting a necklace in a meatball. Meanwhile, there's little scenes from like The Godfather going on in the background here. But you know what? I appreciate your Charlie Sheen pick. I appreciate that you have him winning. Not my pick, though. I'm going with Valerie Galino because I thought she was equally as funny in this. I thought that carrying the jokes over from the first Hot Shots, nailed it, delivery was good. I thought about giving it to Richard Crenna because how brilliant is just the casting of him in parodying himself. I don't know of many other parody movies that were able to actually get someone from the movies that they're parodying into the actual movie and into the same role that they are parodying. Richard Crenna, hat tip to you, good sir, but it's Valeria Galino for me. I thought she was brilliant and hilarious and equal to Charlie Sheen. Both picks are good, but she gets the nod for me. All right, Carrie, thank you so much for this. And to you, our dear listeners, well, you guys know the drill. If there is a movie out there that you think is unfairly maligned or is so bad that there is no way in a desert that looks more like a forest that we can find anything good to say about it, hit us up on social media at NotThatBadcast or go to our website at NotThatBadcast.com. And while you're there, hey, check out our music show, There Can Only Be One, where we go through discographies of artists in search of that one song. Until next time, she's Carrie, I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is It's Not That Bad. Proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.